Attorney Vinu Varghese joins me from New York, and attorney and political analyst Wendy Patrick joins me from San Diego. A pleasure to have you both with us. Wendy, we'll get you to kick us off. Now, of course, the White House has tasked the FBI with a limited investigation. We know from Trump and his Rose Garden speech that he seemingly made matters more unclear. What does he want in terms of an FBI investigation?
What he wants is not necessarily a deep dive, but a vetting of the allegations that have been made. But remember, Tracy, that this charge from the White House is limited to current, credible allegations. That is why so many of the people that the Democrats would like to see interviewed won't be. Because if you have to limit it to credible allegations, you're going to have to task the FBI with making that determination. So because there's a shot clock running, because their mandate is narrow, both in scope and in terms of who they're going to be able to talk to, they're going to have to make those tough decisions between now and the end of the week. They've got a lot of people working there. Remember, Anita Hill investigation, they did that in 3 days. I'm confident they can talk to who they need to provide at least the kind of report that'll be semi-comprehensive in terms of the current credible allegations by Friday.
Right. Now, Vinu, to you, the waters continue to get murkier and murkier around what details, as Wendy pointed to, need to be investigated, what should be investigated, and where this whole saga is going and if it's going too far. Clear things up for us. What is the need-to-know information when it comes to Kavanaugh's confirmation? What needs to be ascertained by the FBI or otherwise?
Well, I think at a minimum, they're going to speak to Dr. Ford, Ms. Ramirez, and they should speak to Mrs. Svetnik. Even President Trump brushed back, or I should say conceded, that if they want to talk to her, they want to talk to her. So, look, there's a number of people. This whole thing has opened up a can of worms. If you look at these allegations, it's going to be very hard to prove that something happened 35 years ago. And this is why you have a statute of limitations. This is why these cases are important to be brought when they're brought, when they should be brought within a certain period of time. The issue for Kavanaugh, though, is that he, with his testimony, and look, I mean, at this point, you got to wonder if his sexual lingo is larger than his judicial lingo. With all the terms and things that came out during this conference, there's so much out there. And I think that these things are going to be investigated because he made statements under oath. Remember, he was the guy who went after Bill Clinton for perjury. He was the top chief dog of Ken Starr during that period. So, look, what goes around comes around.
Right, and Wendy, to you, is there a sense that Kavanaugh has perjured himself in his testimony?
His testimony focused almost exclusively not around his judicial qualifications, but beach week, beer, and now bar fights. These are the kinds of things that are being investigated. He talked more about his drinking patterns in response to questions from the senators at that hearing where he testified last Thursday than anybody would have imagined. And the question is, what relevance does that have to whether he's qualified to sit on the court? Here's the other side of that. If he lied about something significant and material in the hearing, that could be a disqualifier. But let's think about this, Tracy. Are we really going to expect anybody we ask that undergoes a background check to talk about high school drinking in a fashion that is either going to disqualify them or open them up to having the FBI go and talk about, well, what do these drinking games mean, and are these really the friends that were at the party? That can't be what background checks are now about. The relevance is whether or not he blacked out and might have assaulted Dr. Ford. That's really where they're going. But it's gone off in too many different directions now. And that's one of the reasons, by the way, that those current credible allegation language was put. It's not a government-funded fishing expedition. It's a limited probe to follow up on some of what came out during last Thursday's hearing.
Right, certainly we've heard that over and over again. And Vinu, to you just briefly, there's also the question about how long this investigation should take. How long is too long and how long is too short for a lifelong position to find out the truth? What's your take?
Well, look, there was obviously a background check already done prior to these allegations. Now these allegations may spur further investigation. And President Trump is going to be in a hard place, between a rock and a hard place, if the FBI finds information that leads to or speaks to somebody where it leads to something else and they're not permitted to investigate. So as in that press conference that you just showed, it showed that he's willing to, he appears, at least verbally, for the moment, allows let this go where it can go. Understand, though, I have to disagree a little bit with Wendy here. His temperament is now a focus of this investigation. Those things are not just high school drinking games, it's college. And there may be other things that come out. We don't know. But the point is, this man has revealed himself to be very partisan. I mean, at one point I thought he was going to shout, "Lock her up," when talking about the Clintons. There's things that are going to come out, and whether this can be done in a week, we'll see. On Friday, we'll have a better idea.
Certainly we will see. Vinu Varghese, Wendy Patrick.